So even when I left, and where I went to, I met a dead end. I knew that, wow.
But where you went to, I want to lay you out of Fresh FM.
Story for another day.
No, let's tell the story today. One lay on you.
Oh, you think everything is Naira and Kobo?
It's not about Naira and Kobo, but at least if you want to build something, you'll be collecting my berry now.
No, at times there are some dreams that is not about money. In actual fact,
are you looking for an opportunity to invest in agri-business? Then it's saying agri-valuable is for you. Watch this.
àṣírí ọ̀la tí ò lẹ́jà ń bá kàn nú ni iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ tí ò bá wá tí ọlọ́run mọ́ láti máa wo owó rẹ̀ níran kó rẹpẹ̀tì sí báńkì pẹ̀lú bí nǹkan ṣe ń gbówó lórí lásìkò yìí. Lucom Integrated Services Limited ló ń pe gbogbo àgbẹ̀ oníṣòwò tó fi mọ́ olùdókòwò lẹ́ka ètò ọ̀gbìn pẹ̀lú àwọn tó lè fọgbọ́n àtinúdá mú kí iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ ó gbòòrò sí i láti wá fowó pe náà owó ní Ìsẹ́yìn Agric Value Hub tó wà ní kìlómítà 5 Ìbàdàn Ìsẹ́yìn Road tí ò ju 45 minutes drive lọ sí Mọ́níyà. Ìsẹ́yìn Agric Value Hub ní àwọn àmúyẹ tí ó mú kí okòwò ọ̀gbìn rẹ̀ ó gbòòrò pẹ̀lú ètò ààbò tó gbópọn látọwọ́ àwọn ẹ̀ṣọ́ aláàbò bíi NYSC Agro Rangers pẹ̀lú àmọ̀tẹ́kùn ìpèsè omi yípo ọdún ọ̀nà gèrè nígbàkúùgbà pẹ̀lú iná ọba tí kìí ṣẹ́jú àti wá pé Agric Value Hub sí 5,000 square meter per space láti fi ṣọ̀gbìn tó fi mọ́ ìpèsè èròjà èrè oko agro processing greenhouses ilé ìkẹ́rùsí warehouses ẹ tètè wá yan tiyín báyìí ṣáájú àkókò ìfilọ́lẹ̀ kówó rẹ̀ tó gbẹnu sókè ẹ kàn sí Fisheries Headquarters Premier Hotel Road Dandaru Mọ́kọ́lá Ìbàdàn tàbí kẹ́ ẹ máa pè 0813-438-3032. Ìsẹ́yìn Agric Value Hub agri-business reimagined, powered by Lucom Integrated Services Limited.
Limited space are available for you at our pre-launch price of 40% discount. Click the link below or call the number on your screen to secure your space now.
Mo kí ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ ìkànnì Àgbàlẹ̀tù TV Uncensored pé ẹ ṣé tí ẹ tún darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lénìí. Àlejò mi lénìí àwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ radio listeners, radio lovers tí wọ́n wà around Ìbàdàn. Orúkọ tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọn mọ̀ dáadáa ò ní àlejò mi torí pé wọ́n ti ṣiṣẹ́ ní àwọn radio stations tó ṣe gbòógì lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ sí wọ́n wà ní Success FM nìbàdàn wọ́n ti ṣiṣẹ́ pẹ̀lú Fresh FM rí tabaden sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àwọn tó jẹ́ pé láràárọ̀ àwọn èèyàn máa ń jí gbọ́ nípa commentaries Mr. Akeem Kareem popular voice ni wọ́n ní radio waves àwọn ní àlejò mi ẹ káàbọ̀ sí Àgbàlẹ̀tù ṣe ẹ̀dá lẹ́wà.
Adúpẹ́ dọ̀lọ́hun.
Ìní tí à ń ká ètò yìí sílẹ̀ today should be 16 àbí 17. 17 ìní ni Mr. Akeem Kareem ni wọ́n pé 50 àádọ́ta ọdún lókè ìpẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ kí n pé happy birthday ká ní mo lóhùn rìn bá kọrin fún yín.
Mi ò lóhùn. Thank you so much ẹ ṣeun mo dúpẹ́ gan.
Mi ò lóhùn rìn. All right sir ẹ jẹ́ ká wo background yín ọmọ ìlú wo nìyí a lot of things àwọn èèyàn mọ̀ pa yín.
Okay. Àwọn òbí mi bí mi sí Lagos mainland.
Ní mainland àpapọ̀.
Lẹ́kọ̀ọ́.
Mainland.
Lagos mainland local government.
Okay.
Ní Lagos mainland General Hospital on this day 50 years ago.
Okay.
Mo gbọ́ nínú ìtàn pé a wá láti Abẹ́òkúta. Bàbá wa ń tà láti kó wa lọ ilé nígbà yẹn when we were much younger. But láti bí 1980 when I was around 4 years old not to move sí Ìbàdàn. Maybe ìgbà tí mo wà l'Abẹ́òkúta for the first time bóyá bí ìgbà tí mo wà ní maybe after secondary school uni mo ti close to my 18s 19 you know so ọmọ Abẹ́òkúta ni mí Èkó náà bí mi sí but virtually all of my life lẹ́yìn pé mo lọ school ní iléèwé university ní LAUTECH tí mo between 1995 and 2001 2002 tí mo lọ serve then a short stint outside of the country maybe a few months, less than a year.
Country where they
United Kingdom.
Okay.
Basically, I've lived all my life in Ibadan. So, although that doesn't qualify or entitle me to anything, but then until recently, I had to take my children to Abeokuta. Because you come back on sorrow. And I be okay. And they come okay. You want to Molu ne? I'm from Ogumosho. Okay, you know I'm from Ibadan.
But no more.
He lazy to love. So I love Abeokuta. You know, there's a family house there, but naturally, most of us have a family house.
But she more when your family house.
Yes.
I want no more in
Even our sibling, our last born, who have been living in Abeokuta presently. And if I want to be 3-bedroom flat, you know, but everything is God's time. So that's the. My education, Bonywell Primary School, ní Bolumole,
Okay.
ní side Ajé-Igbe. From there, I went to Jolly Secondary School, Nolly Secondus, Government College, Ibadan.
The only.
Yeah.
Ta ló sọ bẹ́ẹ̀?
Debatable. Anybody can.
Ẹ̀yin ọmọ jísà náà.
So I went to, because that's the mentality. We're given the best of education at that time, debatably, So government college, I finished from government college in the peak of a big crisis in Nigeria, 1993,
Okay.
the June 12th crisis. Then from there, 2 years after, Lautech, pre-degree. I did mathematics, pure and applied mathematics.
Why the choice of mathematics?
Yes, that's one of what is in my partly my memoirs. So, bàbá mi lọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ kan, Mr. Ṣadé Odùgbèmí, mechanical engineer ni wọ́n. My dad was an electrical engineer, so he did not see anything outside of engineering.
Tó dáa bí.
He did not say anything. My father did not believe in you being a lawyer or being a medical doctor. He felt everything was
Around
both and not,
yeah.
And for me, it wasn't my thing. But who are you to decide when your father says this is the way? Unlike now that the children can have a discussion with you, I leave me for NYSC,
So I think now we have even more broader choices.
Get. So my intention was to go for mechanical engineering, but I fell short of the cut-off mark in Lautech. And Lautech was the University of Technology. And there were limitations on what else I could do. Probably I could have gone to agri, which was not for me. So that time, my parents' department, but God rest his soul, let them come. With the mind that by year 2 I'll be able to transfer. That year, the policy of the university changed. I'm about transfer to the engineering. Me like mathematics. Well, then I had to. Then chemistry. I like the analytical part of chemistry. Bàbá yẹn ni prof yẹn ni. In fact, mo wá lọ́jọ́ yẹn dáadáa because mom sí mi yá kí n wá wọ́n máa ń wá sóògùn mọ́ṣọ́ dáadáa. Ẹ̀wọ̀n yóò lè ṣe mathematics ó lóun máa fail because ayé ni kò lè fail. If he desires to do it, he will do it. So the man, wọ́n mú fọ́ọ̀mù yẹn dání báyìí lọ́jọ́ yẹn wọ́n fẹ́ sign. Okay, jẹ́ wọ́n á sign lọ́la. Ó lọ́jọ́ kejì mo débẹ̀ wọ́n ní 1 8 mo wá 8 wọ́n ní 1 3 mo débẹ̀ 3 wọ́n ní tó di 5. We did that for like a week or two. I saw the picture handwriting on the wall. I stopped going. Then that's how I ended up in mathematics against my will. So in the book that I'm going to launch on the 3rd of April, I call myself a reluctant student of pure and applied mathematics.
Did you find it easy? Did you find mathematics easy?
Yes. Yeah. One thing about the Sukogiri, at the point I didn't like it, but at the point I just realized that, man, I'm stuck with this. Is that I become a dropout? Then we fell suddenly we drop out. It was even unthinkable for him. I was the first child, the first son, and I always like, you're the ambassador, whatever you do, you do all those motivation that our parents give us. So I tried my best. I came out with a 3rd class. I felt that if it was something I wanted, probably I would have done better, Yeah. But I had no choice. Then I realized that there was more into mathematics. I realized later it gave me a broader mindset, an analytical mindset. If I had not been in it, I wouldn't have known. Then I should come and work with the history of mathematics. Okay. All the great scientists, Galileo, all of them, how they started from mathematics. In fact, the earliest scientists were either physicists or mathematicians, Then by the time we now got to part 2, they started introducing us to computer science program, C language, C++, COBOL, Fortran, old languages that will serve as foundation. Then we continue like that. So I had to do it because there was no choice.
So mathematics is more than the y, the x, the 2
no,
plus 2.
No,
it's more than that.
There is a part of it, fluid dynamics. Very intense, modeling. Everything about mathematics. It was more like mathematics was more like the art of technology. Even they can't be computer science without mathematics. I know that authoritatively.
I did economics with elective courses in mathematics, but me told me pass mathematics. Mo parí but eventually I didn't need the mathematics. So me bother because the first 2 exams I wrote in mathematics I failed.
Then I was also scared. So I will end up being a teacher. I didn't have the temperament to be a teacher. You know, so much more to university gone. After the extra session, whatever, everything, I went to serve. I was going to Nigerian Military School, Zaria. Once my long come for the mathematics, and that school is a military school for boys students that will from there go to the NDA, join the army, do stuff. So they are exceptionally brilliant students.
Yeah.
They will pick only maybe 3 or 4 from each state. So in the entire JS1, at any point, only about you 120 maximum. You know. So, but then he also opened my eyes to the NYSC EU because I felt that okay, I went to University of Technology. I've not been trained. I've not been schooled in the art of teaching. And that's what happens to a lot of people. And so there's that disconnect. But you know, at that point, my father made me to realize that anything you can conceive, anything you can think of, my biggest role model, my biggest influence in my life is my late dad. Everything. In fact, I can say that everything in my life I owe to him. Even my going into unionism in Lautech, I felt he was going to oppose it, but he did not.
Okay.
And so I was, because it's a long story, the Lautech aspect. When I was there, I want to just student activities. So I joined them one from one way, dialectical materialism, communism, all these big books. Then my own background, my father was always encouraging me to read even things that I didn't need. So my uncle
just to read everything.
Everything. Uncle Hafiz. In one day, Uncle Hafiz gave me 70 novels, from science fiction to crime, Nicholas Carter, James Hadley Chase, in fact, including romance, autobiography, Muhammad Ali, the greatest, you know. So the greatest asset I can say that I had was my father told me that anything you can think of, you can do it.
So Omingpe, you can classify yourself, even despite graduating with a third class, you can classify yourself as brilliant.
No, without saying modesty, I don't see myself as brilliant. I see myself as someone that strives for perfection. Like when I finished service, my sister, she went to Ibadan. She had upper. She, I don't know how they do all those things. She had upper, very brilliant lady. She's a director in Ogun State now. I had she interview. So when we got to my stage, it was by a bank. Where mathematics cash out, watch a bank. That would be a ladder to prosperity. And at the point, the man asked me, "You have a third class?" I said, "That's my certificate. That's not my brain." I said, "Wow. So what brain do you have?" I said, "I have a first class brain." I said, "So why did you get a third class?" I said, "Because the circumstances made me get a third class. But if you engage me, I don't have a third class brain." The man was impressed until the politics of Logbaleta and government and Logbaleta and came on. Probably I would have gotten that job because I passed to the last stage where political influence had to come in. And Akeem, but we thank God.
All right. So after to serve
Kaduna State, Zaria.
What's your experience?
Yes, beautiful experience.
That was what year?
Yeah, it was 2002. Okay. 2002. I left for Kaduna via Ogumosho. They were normal thing. One post to everybody was all hustling to Ayefele buy our man NPC, CBN. Want to stop and buy. So I was just like, I knew it had been written. I had read enough books to know that what will cost me will not miss me.
Yeah, lobby for...
No. I was sure that whatever was mine will come to me. If God wants me, if I wanted to have it, to lobby, to have it my way, it will come as an intention. The intention didn't come. I was just like, I want to see border town, become what border Kaduna and Plateau. I said, whatever. When the thing came, my name is Zaria, I collected. I remember as a child, I tried going to NMS. Then that means nobody knows. Then command, later nobody knows. Then I ended up in government college. Okay. That's why I call it the only school, So when I got there, I explained for we had what we call the SO3 education, staff officer education. We had the chief inspector education, CI education, CI military, then the commandant. That was the process. Then they ranked corps members as officers. So we were allowed to go to the officers' mess. Oh, the lady, copper, another lady, too much mathematics. I started teaching SSO, SS3, and I was scared. I want to more way to mathematics. Mathematics, there's a way with mathematics that if you don't know, you don't know it. And there's a way that more at the particular level to have BM question. If you're not sound, and grounded. You know, there'll be lesson notes, but you know that there are some exceptional students that will ask outside of the lesson notes. And it happened a few times. I thought, okay, beautiful. You're a smart guy. So that's the assignment for the next class. So they solve their bigger problems, you know. But then I did my best. But it also for me the frailties in our NYSC system of the people we deploy to teach. It's a surprise to know that our schools come out that up to 60 or 70% of their workforce are NYSC teachers who have no training whatsoever. And we have not even thought as a nation to review the NYSC, to inculcate pedagogy, training skills, communication skills, you know, psychological issues. Because there's psychology in learning. You know?
Did you eventually enjoy teaching?
I didn't have a choice. You know, I told you, in the Quran, I'm not a religious person per se, but I read in the Quran that we have written it and the ink is dry. And they'll tell you, it's debatable.
I
don't want to be seen as quote wrong place. But the one they come like last country, one true kadara. So some schools of thought will tell you, I need to believe what to come for here, got that for tell none. You know, so I've missed my lines.
No, answer on pa if enjoy.
Yeah, so because I knew there was no way out, and it was a boring land. Zaria, one of my friends, good guy, Kamal Olosho, came to visit me twice. The girl I was dating there came twice. You know, then later me I would create fun. Yeah, I would not allow anything to limit me. So, but by class, I was doing extra classes, but I would not explore our carrot plantation. By my point, we call carrots one my fruits, you know. And we made sure we enjoyed it. I met people that by the Lautech, a man of Tombola Friday nights. By the time we even go to Tombola in Jaji, at times we go to Tombola in Kaduna, just to enjoy ourselves. We had no choice. We were making
insecurity was terrible.
Yes, it was starting then. He works in Lagos now. I was going to meet him in. He was teaching in Queen College Zaria. So I was okay, you know, my pass anyway. Because anytime in the middle, I have to take a pass to go out officially. So peace. No peace. So we turned around. Then they told us to stay more within the barracks. But then it was just fun.
But I want to know your opinion about NYSC. Do you think NYSC should be scrapped?
And so, a few days ago, I saw that comment on a platform. I'm afraid to comment on platforms these days because most times people have illusion of knowledge. What they don't know, they think they know it. And they think what they know is all that there is. So, most times, my speaking want to only reason at a level to disagree intellectually. So, for me, NYSC should not be scrapped, but it should be reviewed in such a way. In fact, I wrote it on that platform in such a way that let everybody serve where they are conversant with. I don't know the one story of a corps member. If I want not to say Geneva, return kidnap. In fact, by any story yet shele. Our parents I want to go for they pay 10 million on release it. Then they ask for motorcycles, want to release 1 million as to meta. You know, what people go to the other day, some of a particular university in Ondo State were going to maybe Zamfara. 16 of them, all of them perished. They died.
That happens every year.
So when you look at all those things, a system that works will have reviewed all of that. That, okay, we have the good, we have the bad. How can we reduce the bad of this? So for me, if you are from Oyo State, unfortunately they will say, if you are from Oyo State, you cannot serve in Oyo State. I actually think that you'll do more good to the community. Your community in Oyo. So if you say to scrap totally, a lot of people lose their jobs, a lot of dislocation will happen, and that's not how to solve problems, by trying to eradicate, by trying to wish they don't exist. They are working around them, improve the processes, improve the systems to ensure that.
But has anything been done aside maybe adding some little allowances to core members' salary at the end of the month?
Anything
since 1973.
Not anything structural. No, because you deep or structural in the way. Maybe
so if you're looking at people losing their jobs, then that means we are not even ready for that conversation because some people are actually
Benny, if you look at the NYSC, the NYSC was created to engender national unity.
That's right after the war.
Yes. But if you look at it critically, there's a camp here. You realize that there's no unity in the camp.
At all.
The Yorubas will come together, the Igbos will come together, everybody is family. Except a few of us that like I had a guy then, Abubakar Sabo, Alati Udus, he was one than for the University Sokoto. So it was more of family, no? So integration tí wọ́n fẹ́ kó ṣẹlẹ̀ has not been happening. Although it may sign on instance, báwọn kan ó lọ serve ní Kano, ó dúró mbẹ̀, ó marry. It's not.
But how many percentage àwọn sí percentage àwọn tó ń lose lives wọn sí ojú ọ̀nà, then sí percentage àwọn tó bandits tí wọ́n. I think my own experience. I served in Yobe State. On my way, ní Bauchi, we were attacked by armed robbers. So, but those are experiences that I don't even always talk about. So, I think for me, the NYSC should be reviewed to align with the realities of today. And the reality of today is the state of security or insecurity, as you may like it, in Nigeria. Or what if it's done per catchment area, like somebody in zone, the southwest, in southwest. So you want to school, or you have to jump, or you go to either Ogun State, Lagos, or even Ondo. It's a good one. It's a good one, but you ask people to go like that. You'll be, I don't know, probably it was like a 26, 27 hours journey. Am I right? 2 days, 2 days. Because I know my friends that went to Yobe also spent one night, then they continued the journey the following day. I think it's too much for this time. Anyway, that's just a digression, sir. Continue. After service, so after service, I tried to walk around. I worked for a man, I've forgotten his name now. He was in Lagos, Uncle Meko. Alhaji Biodo Kesojo. He's a logistics company. All right. So he employed me as an admin officer. As an admin officer. That was the first job you got. First job. So now, mathematics should apply, see, as in the practicality of that mathematics should apply. And so one of the things that I refused to accept as an undergraduate then was that when we were in class, it will make you have a robust mind. Robust mind. Let me one computer, one electrical, a robust mind in mathematics class, robust mind. Think out of the box, make analytical. The Baba was always coming to class. It was more like mentoring us. But me, I just closed my mind to it. Baba, you consult, degree, you know. So, but when I got there, then my experience as a student activist had exposed me to what an average person may not be exposed to. I had written letters, money file, I had communicated with the school, reaching the school, face panel, done a lot of things, address press conference, you know. So I would not see myself as a typical mathematics student. Okay. But then it's still robust. So many of the things I was asked to do is initiate memo, write minutes of meeting, you know, they were not strange to me then. And I believe it was because of my background as a mathematics student. You know, and then by pure and applied. If you look at these very deep courses, the pure is separate, then the applied mathematics, that's where it's all electromagnetism, fluid dynamics, you know, then the computer aspect, modeling, and a lot of things. That same course, Baba, yes. Adeboye. Best. Ní Unilag. Baba Kunwi Yinka, àwọn ṣe mathematician. I'm not sure. But Atushi ni àwọn èèyàn kan tó pé they did mathematics. Yes. Mathematics. So it prepared me for anything in life. So even when the job of the head of human resource of Fresh FM came up, that was after the Lagos job. A long time, long period. If I tell you what happened in Lagos, I spent 3 weeks. And I spent 3 weeks because when I got to the job, it was not what I wanted to do with my life. In fact, my uncle was angry with me because he got me the job. He said the man gave him a slot. I said, I'll sit from morning till night. Logistics. No, we're not doing anything. The man said, but I get salary now. So when I just went to the man, I owe you for 2 weeks. Said, are you going anywhere? I said, no. Then at that time, he's a member of the House of Assembly in Ogun State now. Nikeja. So but I calculated it. Owó tí mò ń gbà láti Ìkẹjà lọ sí wharf every day kò ka owó mọ́tò. So mo wá kí n tó gbalé mú kọ gbogbo ẹ̀ lọ́yọ̀ kan. I just returned to Ibadan. Okay. And I felt that, okay, if I can get something in Ibadan, only me in Ibadan. By this day long, the man was angry. I hope I will remember his name later. It was Honorable Mutiwagiri Konwonse. You know, but my uncle was angry. Akeem. If my uncle was doing Akeem, why lodge ọlọ́pàá? Mo ju dúró báyìí. Only
oh, like ọlọ́pàá ni pé àwọn ní ọ̀rẹ́ kan dig training pé you join the next set of kìnìkan boy mo àwọn kan wà sọ pé it's not good to look like we are undignifying other people's profession but I just kept quiet although èmi náà mo tún ọlọ́pàá yẹn mo rò dáadáa but then I didn't stay long. Then I came to Ibadan and then started applying here and there, then later. But the reality is that my work experience has been a checkered experience, if I can use that word.
Okay.
The cycles, terrible cycles. 3 years, then something will happen, then I will start all over. The longest place I've worked, and I've written in my book, Odyssey of Purpose, is Fresh FM.
Now, how did you get that Fresh FM job?
Pekunlo Ede Flexi.
Okay.
So we were in the uni together. I was ahead of him in the uni. Then when he was in Splash, when he was in GM in Splash, I was heading along the line. I got another logistics job in Ibadan that was into transportation. You know that me, I believe with mathematics, just be relevant to eke out a decent living, you know. So we're meeting as professionals. And then he left Splash, he returned to Lagos, then he went to Glam FM. Then he came one day, just called me. Look, what are you doing in the next 3 months? You know, there are some people that will ask you some questions, deep questions, that your response to them, I just come up with, what are you doing? What are you planning for the next 6 months? So when I answered, look, a year ago, this was the same answer you gave me.
Can you response?
I told him, mo fẹ́ gba owó ní bank, mo fẹ́ ṣe agri, mo fẹ́ ṣe fish farm, mo fẹ́ ṣe kinní kan. So it means that in 1 year you have been stagnant. Said, not necessarily. Said, okay, can I go near UJ, press center in the evening? It was Ramadan, like we are in Ramadan now. And I got there, then as MD of a new radio station, he's going to set it up, that over can watch head of human resource and admin. He said, go to Portugal Roman surgery. You have worked in admin in Lagos, you have worked admin here, you have worked admin here. That you can do it. That you go and read about it. Then I went to somewhere. So the said now big books me. A week or two I read, you know. So I went for the interview. My first encounter with Dr. Yinka Ayefele. And it was supposed to be a 10-15 minutes chat, but it ended up like 45 minutes. Because he was asking me what I was bringing to the table. I told him what I knew about HR and admin.
Which was never done before.
We had never done before. And I told him, he said, what is the deal with HR? He said, HR is just to align the personnel. Use the personnel to achieve the management objectives.
Sorry, I want to ask a question.
Please do.
Meeting Dr. Yinka Ayefele.
Yes.
He's a musician. He's a radio station owner. Maybe an instrumentalist. But he is the chairman of his own radio station.
Yes.
That was the first at the time.
First time.
Now, meeting him, interviewing you, she won't come across as ẹni tó báwo mo ṣe fẹ́ gbé kíní kalẹ̀. Did they come across as ẹni tó yẹ pé even gan nǹkan tẹ́ fẹ́ wá ṣe àwọn gan ti mọ̀?
Of course.
Àbí àwọn tó yẹ pé nǹkan tó yẹ pé ẹwẹ́ ní tẹ́ bá ṣáà ti gbà síbẹ̀ lẹ́gbà?
Of course. In my memoirs, the title Odyssey of Purpose, I wrote about him. And if there's anybody that strives to attain perfection, more that I've met is him. Even in his music, if you have been where he's recording, he will take 1, take 2, take 20 times.
You've been there?
Yes, I go there to see. So when he was interviewing me, what I was expecting was that, okay, he was just going to ask me the normal questions. But for me, I tried to over-prepare for any scenario.
Okay.
So I was fully prepared. So all the questions he asked me that was going to unsettle me, my background, how exactly am I going to add value, how exactly am I going to justify, being the management staff at that level. And don't forget, he had worked in radio stations decades before. He knew the setup, and he had an idea of what he wanted. So apparently, he was just looking to see if I was fitting into what his own vision, what he had envisioned. You get? So the interview, I know Bekun was there, but Taku was not meant to talk.
So he was the only one that was.
He personally interviewed me, and he said, "Okay, you have the job. Start on Monday." I was like, "Start on Monday, just like that." It's not even the end of the month. So start on Monday, and that's how we started. So yes, later I realized that he's a person that is cut out for everything he wants to do perfect. He wants it done perfectly. even everything were from the radio. He listens to most of the programs. Then when we had Fresh FM Ibadan only,
Okay.
then when there were more stations, Abeokuta, Oshogbo, Akure, and all of he listens to most programs, and he will call you, Akeem, oh, if you got to say bye. And he will not try to, how will I put it, influence you as an analyst. As an analyst, I have point of views that he disagrees with, right? But you will not say shift to mine. You know, so that is the type of person he is. That he was then to me. The boss that I worked together, you know, there were layers. When Flexi was around, Flexi was the MD. When Flexi left, Alhaji Abolade Salam became the acting GM, right? And so we had to go to Alhaji. But later I realized that he was giving me the work to do directly, and I was working with him directly and it was all smooth. Although, just like life, there can't be movement without friction.
Yeah.
There were frictions, but then
All right. Talking about your stay in Fresh FM, you were the human resource manager.
yes, head of human resource.
Head of
for
human resource
more than 5 years, and later group head of human resource when we had other stations.
Other stations.
joining. Yeah.
So how did you become an analyst on radio?
Okay. And so when Flexi got me that job, Flexi said, Akeem, you know, I don't know. Flexi had that knack for identifying talent with due respect to his person, because he had done it virtually everywhere. You just pick someone and say you can do this, and he equip you, train you, mentor you. So he said, Akeem, you'll be the analyst on this radio program. Like I wrote my book. I said, Pekun, you want me to fail? How? Well, you know, that's what we do every day. When we sit down, we hang out, and you discuss politics, no radio station in the microphone, what that cannot cancel the words. You know, it's fleeting. The radio is fleeting. If you are writing, edit or whatever, but here it's not possible. Like I said, guy, you have to do it, because as the head of human resource, you not make maximum impact in that station if it's not into the core of the business. Yes. Because he had the experience, he had been in Splash FM, he had been in Radio Lagos, he had been in OGBC, he had been, like, at that point, he had more than 15 years or close to 20 years experience. At the time I was coming in 2015. So, Top Edward was the anchor. I was the first analyst on the show. You know, I was so skeptical about being able to perform that I told Top, don't call me Akeem Kareem. Top Ed will tell you, you are Akeem Kareem. No, call me. So if I fail, you should call me that has failed. But you know, I don't know. This Sukomi name is sticking. So the first day I was there, second day, third day, the fourth day I ran away from the show. I know Flexi, he just issued a query. I said, little query. He said, you have to do this. And Flexi had it mapped out that after a year as an analyst, he wanted me to have a program on radio.
Okay.
By that time, in fact, because he left within 1 year, due to some reason between him and Ayefele.
Okay.
By the time he left, I followed it up because I just realized, Ottoman Flexi is so. This thing is just. But then, in the early days, I wake up at 2 a.m. to read everything in the news. Look at the laws that back it up, because
just to get yourself prepared.
Cannot
be sure of so.
Because I was also dealing with an anchor. He talked about Edward, who is a lawyer, who has a very sound mind. That even if you know what you are saying, you talk about who are well grounded. You know, you are not on safe ground. So I put in my best as an analyst. Then I started Perspectives. First time we started was live. I had Tade Padiola, a poet, for my first experience. Then later, I don't know, the guy said, come and record. I said, I'm not doing badly on here live. He said, no, what's to record? So we started recording. It was 30 minutes then. Later, we invited to live, 45 minutes, and it was nice. A lot of people come in, captains of industry, you know, and I always put in my best. Because for me, for that 45 minutes on air on radio, the minimum number of hours I will prepare is 3 hours.
For a 45 minutes show.
Minimum time. So when employers say, should be 45 minutes show, I just laugh.
So you have more than enough materials to.
More, because I have to even know more than you. It's your field. But my position, I'm just pay. Because when guys me to expect to have a question, we go for 5 minutes. In 45 minutes, you can answer 10 questions. Why there below? Are there 45 seconds? Could anyone go to answer one? So you have to start dribbling and putting the put in the question and answer side by side so I can pick from. So I did that for long period of time. But I enjoyed this as an analyst. Later, we was first in Abeokuta, so my son Angola Kebele, we were analyzing Abeokuta, Wale Bakare, Promise Son, then Lulu. You know, it was Fresh FM at that time was an assemblage of stars. They really got everybody together, and
Abeokuta.
Ibadan. It was, we were working from Ibadan to Abeokuta. But when I did perspective at Abeokuta, I was going to Abeokuta
Live, okay.
because I felt that maybe this is a homecoming for me. And when then later there was Fresh FM Oshogbo, I was also going to Oshogbo, and that's why Oshogbo more than one.
Okay. All right. So overall, what's your working experience like with Dr. Yinka Ayefele? Overall,
Mixed feelings.
Mixed
Mixed feelings of unmet expectations, unmet promises, but also that gave me a platform. Ọgbọ́n mi kan wà engineer Abe, a ní wàá lo mọ̀ ọ́ ṣe tó máa gbéṣẹ́ yẹn fún ẹ ńkọ́. Wàá lo mọ̀ ọ́ ṣe tó máa gbéṣẹ́ yẹn fún ẹ ńkọ́. Then I saw the passion that he was putting into everything he was doing. I saw when he speaks to you, you key into his vision, you key into his dreams, but they are his dreams. Not my dreams. They are his dreams. I'm earning a salary to help him achieve his dreams. So like I said to my people, like I said to Pekun, Pekun, we're in our 40s. We went to our 40s, Pekun was 50 years ago. Where's our empire? Are we going to come and earn a salary for the rest of our lives? Pekun, tall dream. We have to have our empire. We have to build our dreams. If you don't build your dream, you are going to continue all your life to build people's dreams. And eventually you become unfulfilled. So mixed feelings, he gave his best, subject to limitations, but then to me, he was a good person. And there were instances where you say, Akeem, why does Mashibe? Then I realized that he loved sycophants. He wanted to hear his voice. When they ask you a question, he wanted to hear himself speaking. So he had people that would go to meet him. Oluwami. I'm not cut out for that.
You never do that. You never did that.
The only time I knelt before him was the day I had to leave. I've forgotten the exact date now, 2022. I know people who go to him at every instance, Oluwami, you came here, go. And when they two steps forward, they start cursing him.
The man go by.
Live. He likes it.
Really?
Yes, he likes the people who pretend to him.
Some of them won't pretend.
He will, because he enjoys it. Because if the person comes to you and says the right things to you.
So what's the essence of somebody coming to cringe before me and the next two steps?
No, he may not hear. It's not that he won't hear, But he likes people that will come and say, but me, I will come and tell him, my own duty as head of human resource is to see where things are going to fail and make sure they don't fail. Is to align the strategy of the management, use the resources available, maintain discipline. HR in this century is not personal management alone. It's process, it's policy, it's a workflow, a lot of things embedded in it. But then as head of human resources, I realized that, like he always says to me, Akeem, if you're secretariat now, whatever you want has to pass through me. I even discussed that with somebody this morning. Why do private radio stations, where it's one-man business, one-man decision making, no management? When you hear management in one-man radio station, zero, no management. It's just the whims and caprices of one man.
Yeah.
Compared to private government radio stations, TV stations.
But I don't need downsides too, no?
They do, but they are not as popular. They are not as fulfilled as because in the government radio stations, broadcast stations, it's just government. So our look prefer the one-man business that is semi-independent and that is a voice for the people.
Semi-independent.
Independence is relative.
Because the government to Bawanta. So somehow semi-independent. So
I use that word intentionally. Semi-independent.
All right. So okay, YC, there was an exodus of people from Fresh FM. You were there, you were the HR. Does that mean that you didn't do your job well and when you come to station you let on the law? We had about 7 people leave at the same time?
No, I left before them.
Oh, really?
I left before them.
Oh, I feel that question. I wanted to trap you, but
I left before them. But then, you know, in life, the only thing that is constant is change. You know, you are thinking some people want to live because of money. Some people want to live because they are not fulfilled. Some people feel that there are other things that they should be doing. Some people are just managing. They feel even when we started in 2015, there are some people, I don't want to mention their names because, you know, I don't want to. They didn't stay. 2 or 3 of them. Me, Federal come on. They are in this banner, practicing in radio till date. And they're not doing badly. In fact, in that regard, they are doing well. They didn't stay. For whatever reason. They were there with them when the radio was online.
okay.
So but then in this industry, it's just like football. Everybody goes for the best. These 2 players too, but I mean, I'm playing La Liga now, you know. But then for me, I believe the platform is very important, and people who left because they had reason. For me, I left because I thought I was going to attain part of an empire.
Like you become a shareholder.
That was the illusion I had.
Did you discuss that with him?
Not with him.
Okay.
It wasn't with him. So before I came to radio with Ayefele in 2015, myself and Pekun had sat down that Pekun, in this Ibadan, we can own our station. You know, if your dreams don't make you look like they are crazy dreams, you have not started dreaming. If your vision is just you want to do the regular what everybody is doing, no. You have to be daring. At times you have to leave your comfort zone. Totally. A ship will never discover new, what do they call those things? New oceans if it doesn't leave the same
We were
zone.
talking about Professor Gideowe just now.
Yeah.
Professor Gideowe was a lecturer at the OAU, and he had this vision of having a university. So lára àwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ colleagues ní OAU.
Probably work for him now.
Ipe ìwọ ọ̀fẹ́ ni wọ́n rẹ́rìn kára pé ẹni yóò tẹ̀ mọ́ ọkọ̀ tó ń ṣe, but look at what Lucy University has done too.
Maybe a few weeks ago, I think their 20th or 20-something anniversary. You know, so people have to dream. And when you have your dream, the dream you have may not really work out in the circumstances. So, like I said, I went to meet him when I had to leave. I paid the month's salary in lieu of notice because I'm a process person.
So why didn't you just wait for that month to?
Because I knew it won't make me leave. It won't allow me to leave.
But
I was head of HR.
You were having your back
and I had seen other people who wanted to leave, who were not allowed to leave.
Okay.
Directly or indirectly, one way or the other. It should get better.
Once we talk,
yes, because no, I'd work with the boss when you work with the boss, you know he's thinking. So even when I left, and where I went to, I met a dead end. I knew that wow.
But where you went to, I want only on you out of Fresh FM.
Story for another day.
No, let's tell the story today. Only on you.
Oh, you think everything is naira and kobo?
It's not about naira and kobo, but at least if you want to build something, you'll be collecting my berry now.
No, at times there are some dreams that is not about money. In actual fact, yes, maybe the salary was going to be double, but that was not the catch.
Let me borrow a slang. Journalist call. I put it to you.
Okay.
That Vintage FM lured you from.
Wow, you know what Vintage FM?
Yes, now. So
I could not have been lured with money.
Okay.
I was at the top of my career in Fresh FM. What took me from Fresh FM was more than money. Because if it was money, when I was leaving, Dr. Ayefele said to me, and is alive to corroborate or deny this, that I will double my salary. I was living from the known to the unknown. I was living certainty for certainty. I won't do that because of money. Okay, if I could not tell him I was going to a radio station, he said to me, Akeem, deliberately, because I knew I was going to do that for the first and the last time. And then Akeem did it, Joko. I said, I had to leave. I have to move on. Move on where? What's happening? Money move travel. Akeem like travel. Money move travel. No. Tell me, what are the issues? Akeem, okay. You want me to change your official car? In my mind, I thought of it. So, this man feels I deserve a better official car.
But the official car? So, that's joy.
Yes.
You waited till I.
Àwọn Yorùbá sọ pé iṣu onú ẹ̀kú. Àwọn mọ́ra ni. Àwọn Ìbàdàn ní tọ́mọ Yorùbá tí ìmọ̀ ọkú tó pa bẹ́ẹ̀. kò kí tí o bá tí ilé kú dà kò mí èkú tó pa rẹ̀. When I took the job, Oga said, Akeem, in 6 months, there'll be a pool car available for your department. In 60 months, there was no car, no pool car. Otherwise, being given car. Even when I knew I was adding value more than them. At the point I was like, I've been talking to Pekun Lomumiwani, and Pekun had left. And when Pekun left, he left with majority of all his people. Okay. That they came together. You know, they left. So I thought, am I not welcome? So he said, I'll change your car. I laughed. I said, okay, your salary. I was perpetually broke. Not his fault. There's a scale for the work I do. It's paying me commensurate with the salary structure. But it was not in conformity with my own financial needs. So most times I was either on a loan or a kinecon. You double my salary. I said, no. I'll be health insurance. I said, health insurance, wow. Something you did not do for us in the last 84 months. No health insurance, even when we had the chance to do a barter with the Hospital Insurance Agency. Hey, for an health insurance now. And when I read the company secretariat. So, the discussion I had that day, even though they were baits, I knew they were baits. Even though they were baits, could have made me say I was going because of the money. But I was going because somebody said to me, Akeem will set this station. He will spend XY amount of money to set it up. If you and Pekun that we're going together could make the money, the principal, in 2 years, then we are going to give you a certain percentage of shares. Then the work started, we were putting on our best, and all of a sudden...
That was the discussion you had?
That was the agreement we had.
Verbal or written?
Beautiful question. It was not documented. And that is what Ibrahim Lawal, the present ABA chairman of the state, said to me, Akeem, you are the most stupid human being I've seen in my life. So you are so unintelligent. You have an agreement with somebody, you made it verbal, and you have many lawyers as your friends. Even you have a very legal mind, fertile mind. It was an agreement on honor. I said, where is honor if it's not documented? And the lady came out and said, we are our employees. I said, employees? So even when they said, we're going to have no stake, when they started, it was like, CSC document, and Pekun warned me. I had issues with Pekun. Pekun had been my close friend, close ally for years. Pekun warned me, said, oh, let them document this thing. Pekun, this is where I spent money. Let's wait for them. They can't renege on their words. So before I even think of leaving, Pekun left earlier. I couldn't stay. If you are now treating us as employees, this is not what we agreed on. You know, long story that I don't want to go to the full details. You know, at times these are things that made me cry as a man. With all sense of modesty, I've been in situations of life and death. Me, Sukun. As a student activist, I was in Yagogu for 7 weeks. Here. As a student activist, one more aloja from student union. It was all in all this of purpose. Student union Ilorin, Okekura, maximum prison. 8 weeks. Me, Omi, Jamaloju me. But that's what shook me most. Was that, ṣé nǹkan tó ń pè léèyàn ní? When I last spoke to her, Akeem, ìwé àsòwò sí pé olùwà fẹ́ràn yìí sùn wá. Bí wà tẹ̀yànjọ́ lágbèmẹ̀ tẹ̀ wá kọ sílẹ̀. Ìwọ tó wà yunifásitì tó máa ń kọ nǹkan sílẹ̀, tẹ̀ máa ń sign, ìwọ HR tó máa ń document everything. Ìwé tí mo máa ń kọ communicate meeting, tí mo ń kọ communicate enhance meeting, mi ìwà kọ communicate. Ẹni wọn ni, wọ́n rí ẹ̀ ti dàrú, àwọn òjò sọ nǹkan tó jọ bẹ́ẹ̀.
Ngbà tẹ́ padà lọ bá wọn pé nǹkan bàbá ìlàjọ sọ kí ni response wọn?
Wọ́n ní kò ṣẹlẹ̀ pé àsọ. So I walked away because nígbà tó fẹ́ fún mi ní contract yẹn, I had been privileged to see the contract. Is the contract you are giving me? Even this contract, I could not issue it for a staff as a freshman person because there's a template, HR tone. Tí lawyer bá ṣe agreement contract iṣẹ́, where was the HR? The HR will protect even the personnel. The lawyer is just saying the client tó gbówó fún.
Ló máa protect.
Ó máa bó ṣe máa dì ẹ́ mọ́lẹ̀ ní sínú ìgbèkùn ni. I said, no, this is not for me. And so when I could not cope again, I walked away. I walked away, and I promised. And since 2023, I've not spoken to this in any medium. A lot of innuendos in the social media. Ebu, kò sí ebu tó wà bú mi. Láti university mo ti ní thick skin. I fear my creator. I fear the day that I go me at all, and I fear my conscience. And I don't break any known law. Once I satisfy my creator, my conscience don't break any law, I can damn any consequence. So I walked away. It was not an easy thing to do. Ọ̀rẹ́ mi kan Gola Ọládàyà àbí ọjọ́ kan pè mí. Wọ́n ní bàbá ẹ máa ń sunkún. Mo ní sunkún kẹ̀, but I was actually crying. It was humiliating.
It was
Humiliating. Especially for the person who was coming from.
expected.
Someone that I've used all my lifelines for. In the past. And at the critical moments. Just turns me off like a piece of shit, a piece of rag.
Ayefele, it is well. And only into Amaga, so I think it's part of.
Yes.
I
moved on.
Yeah.
I moved on.
So the vintage job came after you left.
It was an ugly experience.
The vintage itself.
Yes, I left to go to vintage. I left for FM to go to vintage. That's
You
why I
saw
was
it
saying,
as an opportunity.
yes, I was telling you, I left certainty for certainty. My dear, in this Ibadan, Femi Babala Jogo is my good egbon who talks to me, advised me, said, Akeem, you are making the biggest mistake. I wish you had spoken to me. He called me, Akeem, I wish you had spoken to me. Oh, how would you have done that? I wish you had spoken to me. Was it the money?
What's the problem with vintage?
Ownership.
Okay.
The people felt we're after their dukia. That was what we're using. And there's something called illusion of knowledge. What you don't know. Oh, more. A few days ago, I had an issue with the car. Then I called the mechanic. Only, please do a bonnet here, a shibi, a petrol DSC, a depada. And start. That car had done it for close to 5 minutes. Restart. Because the guy had knowledge. You know where to touch. But you don't remember the certificate online. I said I started at highest level in Fresh FM with Pekolo Ede, Flexi, not anybody. With Ayefele, with Alaja Balade Salami, with Bayo Faleke, we talk about Edward, best of the brains. On our morning show, Tabawa morning show, Tabawa meeting, you marvel at
Fresh FM rose from 1 to...
intellectualism. Then Oga had the celebrity status to show it up.
Yeah.
I left all of that to come here, and you messed me up. You asked me to go on leave. You asked me to go on suspension. Yet I'll still be somewhere working. And you could not do anything. And I left. Well, they had another person work on the station. Maybe you can. And when the person said, ṣẹ́gun tí mo wá sọ ṣé wọ́n wá rú ni? Ẹ̀rù tó wá wọ̀ mí lọ́rùn tí mo sọ ṣé wọ́n wá rú ni? No.
So some people came before you, maybe 1 or 2 people.
No, this was how it started. And where the problem was supposed to start was when we started, Flex was supposed to be MD. And we had agreed. When we were setting up the entire studio, everything, this is MD's office. I was supposed to be the general manager. This was my office. Then the financier said, later, I'm back. Flex is MD more. Money, kilo de money. Me o MD o. Èmi ò ń dalẹ̀ o. Èmi ò ń kó mo lè má kọ sílẹ̀ o. Kọ́ bá ti jọ sọ lè mi máa ṣe o. So Flexi was so they said they don't want Flexi as MD again, that they were not toying with my position. That was why I started kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀? How can we agree on something? Mo nǹkan tá agree sí ibi ẹ̀gbọ́n letting dàrú pé COO that the lady will be the MD. Say MD how? What do you know about this thing? You don't have the basic knowledge. mo ti ṣe training online, you know. And that was how it started, such that if we that were in the management, when you give the instruction to staff, the MD will come for our shop and give an contrary instruction. And the workplace became toxic. Àwọn Akeem ti jíwó wa, àwọn Akeem ní ibi tí bá ti wú onírọ̀ wa, ẹ pè wá, ẹ sọ síta. Àwọn Akeem ti jíwó wa, wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí sọ̀rọ̀ káàkiri, you know. It was so toxic. I mean, as strong as I want to be, as strong as I believe I am, I get emotional because I'm human. Bákan wo ni pé ṣé mo deserve kíni? This same person, I needed my help many times in the past. Tí ẹ ti mú lọ bá sọ fún pé Akeem, you are using your life for this person, are you aware? Mo ní yes sir. Ṣé ẹ mi pé ṣé mo life tó ní lọ́wọ́ mi? Mo ní at least màá ní mẹ́ta ó lẹ́yọ kan lóní and we have used it for her. Not once, not twice, not thrice. And that person just let me do like that. So the day I left was because I just felt my personal affairs were in the office. I never knew because they were saying I want to staff audit that he said that they downgrade me or she can. I said, okay, just don't humiliate me. And you knew I have an issue that I could not return to Fresh FM. Even when Jogo called me, Akeem, Oti Buruju, you know, Jogo was bothered. Why can you be staying at home? Because you know the radio work is always light at the top, heavy at the bottom. You know, so there are no many opportunities for me to get into management easily. You know, no, it won't work that way, sir. But you know, they can't go to best of one person. Oh, she basoro. I think my teacher won't take me back because I know him, because I've worked with him for 7.5 years, and I know his mentality. I know how his mindset works, and I'm sure he won't want me back. Except he wants me back to humiliate me and then send me away. No, that's not Yinka. Okay, but he didn't work with him for 7.5 years. So Jogo called people, they went to meet him. Then Jogo called me, I told you not to try it. Then I had another offer to be GM in Oyo Town. I felt, well, I would leave and go and work as GM in Oyo Town. No. Then at that time, I wanted to make you tell lawyer. Role model, Pajuan, Wise Man, all of them now left. Pajuan is going to be GM where I work now. You know, I reached out to them and they said, I want to recruit Tom. Management position.
And you had no job at that time. You were out of.
I was at home. And although at that time I could have chosen the one at Oyo.
Okay.
I don't want to mention brands.
That's Dynasty.
I could have chosen. In fact, the MD was my friend in Lautech. I forgot his name. I forget things easily. I don't know why.
So at 50.
No, I am actually 50 years young, not 50 years old. So they called me. They said they had only the position of a freelance analyst. But I mean, you know what it means? From the head of human resource in Fresh FM to the GM of a station to home, and now freelance analyst. Last man at the door. But you know,
in any
success.
Yeah.
A lot of people felt I would not take the job. But I said to myself, I can't, like Baba Bola said, I can't turn stone into bread. And I took the job because I was sure I was going to bring value to the job. And I always say to people, anywhere I am, I work on making my presence so valuable that when I leave, you may not value my presence, but when I leave, you feel my absence. You feel my absence. And so I've been doing it then. Later, I started the platform program, which I've been doing on a weekly basis. Then I tried to do a few other media consultancy here and there, you know. So when you have a family, your child is in the university, there's no money they want to pay you as an analyst that will suffice. But then the platform is important. And then that you wake up, you are going to work is also very fundamental. So it's been serious learning.
So at the moment, you are a freelance analyst with Success.
Success always says, I'm their staff. But I remember when we had the agreement initially, which I asked them to document, I applied as freelance analyst. But when they issued the letter, they said OAP/analyst. So I work with Success now.
And you can't do more than one stations.
They even put it there, exclusive. There's an exclusivity clause. You know, that thing is not good for radio. They think you should be unique. to a particular place.
Not being from this
But you know what they call freelance these days? People buying time here, buying time here, and in the process, even them will lose their niche. Even them will lose their brand. Even them, you know. But then it's a massive audience. There are so many radio stations, and there's also a dearth of lack of qualified personnel. There are a lot of enthusiasts, but not majority of the personnel are not qualified. I'm sure you listen to radio, and every time you'll be like, what is this person saying? How can you start from no content, no intellectualism, no depth, but it's just what it is.
I think orin yín tó yẹ kí lára àwọn orin tó yẹ kẹ́ fẹ́ràn jù sí, or maybe a song that I would recommend is Commander Ebenezer Obey's song.
Okay.
I love Ebenezer Obey.
Beautiful.
Oh, easy.
Láti
Láti
jọ́
jọ́ ọkùnrin. Àfi kó Olúwa. That song is deep.
Very deep.
Kò easy. N tó lè mú yín máa yọ mi lójú.
You know, I didn't want to get to that stage, but you know, interviewers. Interviewers, you got me.
Yeah, I got you.
And that was what made my friend leave that day. My friend go like, "Who ala kubo lojo yen?" One on the phone. And look, he man sunkún, mo ni mi sunkún. Baba yen sunkún. He drove from Akubo to my house in Owode. Where I pack bag. Just leave this house. Let's go and hang out. 3 days. Oh yeah, what omo nko? No, let's just leave first. Because you know, a lot of time people go through a lot of issues, but there's this presumption that Alcohol now is supposed to be strong, but you never know when it's vulnerable.
So Baba, James Onkofun, Ọlọ́run ti equip yín. You have what it takes to become whatever. You can be president of this country. You are highly cerebral, you are intelligent, you are brilliant.
Thank you.
It's just for your time to come. It's just for the right person to support you. Mi ṣeré o, because ṣe mọ̀ pa dára wa mọ̀.
Ben.
Ẹ̀yin gan fúnra yín. Okay, ẹni ọ̀rẹ́ kan tẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ pé mo mọ̀. Ẹ̀gbọ́n ló jẹ́ sí mi, but he's so humble. Dr. Kola Farinloye.
Wow, yeah. He's in the UK now.
He's in the UK.
He's in the UK.
There was a day I told Dr. Farinloye, I just ṣiṣẹ́ ní Lítìtì.
Ben, he was in
Lítìtì. Mo sọ fún Dr. Farinloye, àwọn náà wọ́n possible kan wo show yìí. Mo ní pé doctor, mo ní now that you have acquired your PhD, mo ní you can be whatever you want to become. Mo ní reason ni pé tẹ́nibọ̀dì bá fẹ́ gbà yín sí ẹni iṣẹ́, you are already a PhD holder. Kò sí nǹkan tó fẹ́ fi já yín.
Ben.
Money. Then I see you beyond just
where you are
taking salary from Lítìtì University. Money you can become president. Like when if anybody don't care anything. Àwọn wá ń wò mí pé kí ni mò ń sọ.
Kí ni máa ń sọ yìí?
But today, wọn kì í ṣe illegal immigrants ní UK o. He's a research
and he's doing academics, full academics. And if the Oyinbo can accept you at that level, then it means because àwọn òkè compromise standard.
Wọ́n lọ pẹ̀lú ìyàwó pẹ̀lú ọmọ kì í ṣe pé wọ́n bẹ̀bẹ̀ àbí kìíní kan. So I see another Farinloye in you. You have the academic qualification. You are brilliant. You have been wired from the start. It's just for you. Tí máa fẹ́ lo the religious language. Kí time yẹn tó. Or kí the right person. Kó kàn wá. Let's understand. But some of the things that will make you get where you're going to, or to make you what you have dreamt of becoming. Òun ni àwọn kan tó ń gbomi lójú yín yẹn. Wọ́n ṣe bad sí yín. It's just to prepare you for that future, and I'm sure that future is very close by.
Thank you.
I don't know where we can song got most on the camera, but it's just from the depth of
your heart.
So let's talk about your book launch.
Yes, so a year ago, 2 days on my after my birthday, I think March 19, I had Dr. Festus Adedayo. And now, in my interviewing over the years, at times, more prefer in 1 year, can be a particular guest 6 times, 7 times. One of the people to go most Reverend Dr. Kende Alabi, Malibu Baptist Church.
Yes.
I'll bring him on Easter, I'll bring him on Christmas. Then Dr. Festus Adedayo. Then Professor Adeolu Akonde. Because when you speak with them, when you listen to them, cerebral.
Highly
cerebral.
Yes.
So that day I just told them, I'm going to 50 next year. And you know he's a very humble person. I was told, go and write. I said, write? I don't know what to write. Your last 11 years in the media, your background as a student activist, He began as a mathematics student. So let's see next week and talk about it. And that's why he started. He did the initial chapterization for me. And so for like 8 months, every day, Monday to Thursday, Woman Lobby Share, we have an office in Dubai where we use for other activities, some of my friends, between 8 and 12 noon. Every day, I'll be behind the phone. Typing, thinking, conceptualizing.
Writing your memoir.
Writing. Remembering, you know. And I kept doing that. People say, he knows big people that will give him money, that if he doesn't do a book launch, they won't give him money. But like I said, if you don't have dreams, why are you alive?
Yeah.
If you don't have something that keeps you awake in the night, why are you alive? If it's just a run of the mill, just existential for the moment. Anybody who also have dreams that keeps them awake, impossible dreams. In 1 year, I never thought I could get that book ready. But for me, there's a way I do my things. I see the end, like, is it epilogue or prologue? I'm not a good person. Where like a prologue in Paris, where I be? Yes. I write the prologue first. I will have seen the end from the start, and I walk towards and get to it. It was tough. And many times I felt, this book can't get ready. I'm going to low AI. Does I know all of my history? She I remember when we put meta. She I remember when Akeem on shop with NYSC road. She I remember when I be apata Lautech. You know this him. They have to put together, do lessons. They how to So we did that. Then along the line, I had to go and meet professors again. Then I had to get editors to edit the edited. So we are going to launch on 3rd of April. It's a Friday, Good Friday. Dr. Fesa also will be the book reviewer because he's instrumental to this. I'm sure without him, without that discussion that day, I thought of writing. I knew I could write. In the secondary school, I was in the press club. In Lautech, I was in the press club. And in Lautech, I wrote. If I move the commercial writer, because my politics, unionism around Lano, I write, So, but I never thought that I could put my thoughts down in a book form. So he guided me, and what we are doing on Monday, we call it Odyssey of Purpose, because I realized that every journey has a purpose. But what, as individuals, we are able to decipher is what is that purpose. That is the moment you know your purpose. If I come to this studio and I know my purpose, it's easy for me to do.
Yeah.
But if I come to this studio, I don't know my purpose, I will just be rambling around. And so that book is about identifying your purpose.
Which I'm sure is going to help a lot of other people.
If people are willing to read.
This discussion alone, many insights so at least it may going to pick personal lessons.
So it's an Odyssey of Purpose, the journey of purpose. So it's for people to tell me what is the purpose of life, what is the purpose of marriage. So when you want to marriage, and they have different purposes. They be at crossroad. So only achieve purpose here, but the united purpose. So that book is about the Odyssey of Purpose. We use Jogo, Felicia Hall, do the launch, then a brief get together. I'm not a man of immense financial resources, but I'm a man that has men and women who are always ready to come to my aid, particularly to get my dreams done. Most time people have dreams and they don't have people. They don't have a circle that can actualize that dream for them. At times, some people can actualize dream, they don't have dreams. So I've seen that in life. Life is actually a paradox. When I was much younger, I read a lot of books about supernatural, mysticism, yoga, a lot of books. I read so much books at the point I call women. Go and read Nelson and Packer, go and read physics, maths, chemistry. What's all this? He sees all the books. But I always add some I kept elsewhere. But he encouraged me to read.
He said read anything. At the point, he packed them off.
Because he felt I was not finished in academics. So it's about my purpose. My purpose in the university, I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. That was my purpose. I came out with a 3rd class in mathematics. I was an accidental. Even in journalism, it was accidental. I never wanted it. I never thought of it. My wish was mobile maths. I can go working on the apothecary, I be HR, admin that I done for so much or logistics, But then, what's important in life is you must always find a way to determine your purpose and seek that purpose.
All right, I'm sure that you won't mind some little help from here and there, from maybe from some people.
Apparently.
All right. So what I want you to do now, mo fẹ́ kẹ́ pe phone number yín
Okay.
on this show.
Okay.
I'm sure there are some people that really like you. You are likable. They'll reach out to you, they'll call you. And
But you look as if I'm soliciting.
no, you're not soliciting, but if it comes, share anybody.
There's this, everybody likes money. And everybody can always make do with more money.
Oh, difficult for me. That's a that for me.
But I think,
But
I think yes. But I think there's an ethical issue about soliciting. I even find my colleagues, you guys are soliciting.
Okay, you know what? Nick account number. Just call your phone number.
Okay, my number is 070-609-15613. 070
Yes.
609-15613.
All right. But I personally want to urge you, my viewers and Agbalete fans, that for what he has done, he has challenged me. Maybe not him postpone,
No,
but
please start immediately.
I feel it's not time was it though. Maybe I still need to gather some things because I believe that my best is yet to come. But now,
I don't know if I can read this comment out for you.
All right.
Somebody sent this comment to me. I hope I will not take time reading it out. He's a colleague, and he said to me this morning, platform no cause. He said that if at age 50 you can write about yourself, it means that there's still much more. Oh wow, it's not.
If at age 50,
you feel
I'm not 50 yet.
Whatever your age, that you have enough to write about.
Yeah, of course.
It's about documenting.
I know I have enough to write about, but I feel that whatever I want to write about shouldn't be about me alone. It's about I wish it to be more about what I have done in entertainment and this guy. You can
serialize it. It could be a series.
Yes, I know, but I can say that
but then for me, I think that if you really want it, what I know about the human mind is that you have trained your mind to achieve anything you want to achieve.
But this is not how my chapter 1 should look like. But I know that there are editors that will help me out.
Of course.
Even Tim Afejo, I know that there are people I can narrate my story to.
And they can write.
So I know the way to get it done. So, but
you are waiting for the right time.
Maybe the right time, but maybe the right time is now because Dr. First I not buy him so many times. So, but King Padasuri,
he's a big mentor.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what he did for me and Flex one time. So when we were trying to get a radio license, you know what radio license is in this Nigeria? So he said, Mr. Femi Adesina, I think he can. And he picked his phone. And I demanded him pick. Said I was going to call him back. And you know that I know Flex and his friend had spent at that time more than $20,000 trying to get that license. And within 15 days, Dr. Festus made one call to somebody who called another person, and they got that license out. That they had been on for years. Extremely influential. And what wows me most about him is modesty. I wish I could be that modest and humble too.
Yeah, very humble. And his interview has been one that one your man refers to.
Of course.
Always. All right, so let's assume that some cerebral people have enjoyed your interview. You are not here to solicit for fund. You are not needing support, whatever. Just in case, show phone number
hey, this man is a tricky interviewer. Yeah, it's an OP account.
But Emma need a regular bank account, no?
Yeah, I do.
Bank or no?
First bank.
Okay. Because I hope you can't opportunity man work, but we should be prepared for it. Come out the corner, but if they say 1 million,
go bank
1 million da pada. Ọjọ́ yẹn ló mọ̀ o. Ọjọ́ kejì yẹn tó fẹ́ sẹ́ni létí gbàgbé.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni,
ẹ pé first bank yẹn just in case.
31-444-20484. Kareem Akeem Ọlánrewájú.
Anybody bá sọ pé solicit for ẹnikẹ́ni ẹ wá bá mi máa sọ pé no pé èmi fúnra mi ni mo sọ pé mi ìnáwó tí mo lè fún yín but I know I have good people on this channel on this platform tó ń máa support irú nǹkan báyìí. The artist wa táwọn èèyàn dey support wọn but now you are not an artist ẹ kì í ṣe actor but what you are doing needs support need people to encourage you irú yín ló yẹ kí àwọn èèyàn ní káwọn ọmọ wọn máa gbọ́ to make choice of careers. And that is what I want to do. It shouldn't be about Fuji music alone for Agbaletu. It shouldn't be about Ogunde alone. It should be about what mentoring. But a lot of people are not seeing that. But Awati because that is where we are heading. So I want to thank you, Mr.
And so if you also need me for, because now you have, you said we have met. I remember when we met, it was a circumstance that was not pleasant. I remember now.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it now. It was not too pleasant.
Yeah.
Now, openly, I'm apologizing for whatever has happened then.
Yeah,
I will mind you after.
Okay.
But then if there's anything you also need me to do for you, I'm always a call away.
No problem, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
So thank you.